Hello and welcome in to another episode of The Racing Report. My name is Rob Peeters, and I'm here as your host for this fabulous little half hour where we talk about all things auto racing, especially the things that have been happening in the off season and that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. So obviously we're looking ahead today to the Chili Bowl, which is coming up this Friday, this Sunday, and then we've got the Rolex 24 coming up in a couple of weeks. We just had the Formula E Mexico City ePrix, and then we've also got the clash at Bowman Gray and the Daytona 500 to talk about all of those things coming up this later on in the Racing Report. So make sure to stay tuned. And if you like this show, please remember you could follow me on social media. That's at rpeeters33. That's RPEETERS 33. I'm available on social media. I just recently got on Blue Sky, so if you're on that website, you could find me there as well. But that is the intro. So let's go ahead and jump right on into the meat of the show, talking about news. We'll start with Formula One news because there's some big news in the world of the Formula One calendar. We got news that Spa-Francorchamps is actually going to be renewed. They renewed that contract, so it's going to still be on the Formula One calendar for at least the next couple of years. But in 2028, we're not going to have a race at Spa-Francorchamps. Apparently, it's going to rotate. And also in 2030, we won't have a race at Spa-Francorchamps, which is just going to be very weird because I don't recall a Formula One. Formula One's always had Spa on the calendar, always, and it's going to take some serious adjustments and getting used to the fact that Spa won't be on a calendar this year. I honestly am kind of perplexed by that, but that's not until 2028. So we still have 25, 26, and 27 with the Belgian Grand Prix at the very least. And I don't know if maybe they're going to move the Belgian Grand Prix. I hope not. But that might be an option. I'm not sure. We'll find out. I'm sure details about this will come out later on in the future. Now, moving on into the next piece, this was pretty big. So when GM announced its Cadillac F1 program, originally it said it was going to be a customer team, and it was going to basically grab its engines from another manufacturer. But now it appears that GM has officially established an F1 power unit company and named Russ O'Blenays as its CEO. So we could seriously, potentially see a Cadillac F1 engine on the grid probably by the end of the decade, I would imagine, which is quite big, a big announcement, especially considering the fact that Renault is done powering engines now, and even the Alpine, they're going to become a Mercedes customer program. So that is big news. But we'll have another engine manufacturer. Now, the question is, will any other teams want to use this new Cadillac F1 power unit? Or will it be an exclusive to the Cadillac F1 team? We'll have to see. Depends on how powerful it is. Depends on how it does with the new regulations. All that fun stuff. Be very interested to see how that goes in the future. Now, here's the big thing that's in the world of Formula One that I think a lot of people are really talking about, because it shows, again, just how cutthroat this sport and business can be. So we know Alpine signed Jack Doohan to race for them next year. So he's going to partner with Pierre Gasly. But apparently now Alpine has unloaded a truck full of cash at Williams to get Franco Colapinto out of his reserve driver contract with the team, and they've brought him in as now the reserve driver. But the hot rumor, and now keep in mind this is just a rumor, we don't have any real confirmation of this, so take it with a grain of salt. But the hot rumor going around the F1 paddock right now is that Jack Doohan was only signed to a 5-race deal, and that if he doesn't impress the team in 5 races, they're going to kick him out and replace him with Franco Colapinto, which is absolutely insane to think about. And it again shows just how cutthroat this business can be sometimes when a driver like Jack Doohan, who has worked his way up through the ladder system and now finally gets an opportunity with Alpine in Formula One, and they're only going to give him 5 races to show what he can do. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure to put on a young man, like that. That is, I'm very much questioning Alpine's business strategy, I guess, or do they want to be seen as a team drivers want to race for, given how they treated Esteban Ocon before the end of the season, not even letting him finish the season out, firing him before the last race of the season? Do you really want to race for this team? I mean, I know it's a Formula One ride. You take what you can get if you can get up to that level. But man, you almost want to take a reserve driver role anywhere else. And especially, it reigns true to what Otmar Szafnauer said a couple of months ago when he was interviewed about what happened at Alpine and what led to his firing. It kind of shows you a little bit what might be going on there. So some maybe some shady stuff. Again, it's just a rumor. It's just a rumor. It may or may not be true, but we'll find out after the 5th race of the F1 season if Jack Doohan is still in the car come round 6 or if Franco Colapinto is. All right, let's move on into some IndyCar news now. Big little shift talking into some IndyCar news. There's a lot of IndyCar news to get through here. And we're going to go try and run through it here. So the first big thing, and we're going to start a little bit subdued, I guess, but McLaren now owns all of the Aero McLaren team, IndyCar team, after buying out Sam Schmidt and Ric Peterson. So that had been long happening. It had been happening for a while. It was inevitable. It was coming, and now it's official. The era of Sam Schmidt Motorsports is basically over. And even though it's kind of been over for a while, it's now officially gone. And that's kind of sad to see because Sam Schmidt's been an IndyCar owner for a very long time, even after his accident, which left him paralyzed. And, he's done so much for the sport as well since then. And just for the technology in terms of paraplegics being able to drive, someone like him being able to get back behind the wheel and still do what he loves, which is drive a race car or drive a car, period. So just a little bit of sad news there, but if you're a McLaren fan, maybe that's good. But if you're a historic IndyCar fan like I am, you're not feeling one way or the other. One other news, this is pretty big, PREMA. So we announced PREMA is joining IndyCar. We've known that for a while now, about a year. But they officially launched their team last week at a launch event in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so they showed off the livery, showed off the car numbers. So we'll be running car number 80 and car number 93. And I believe that is an homage to when the team was founded in 1980 and when the team won its first drivers' championship, which would be 1993. I could be wrong on that, but I believe that's what those numbers stand for. But the biggest news that came out of that whole event was really that the team has signed Romain Grosjean as a reserve driver and named Ryan Briscoe, yes, that Ryan Briscoe, 2012 Indianapolis 500 pole center, 8-time IndyCar winner, Ryan Briscoe, he's going to be the team's sporting advisor. So a big deal there, bringing Ryan Briscoe back. And, it's a team that he actually got his start in. He drove for PREMA when he was coming up through the ranks before he got to the IndyCar series. So some big news there. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, Grosjean probably is disappointed to not be on the grid full time, but he does have this reserve driver role, which is kind of good. And I feel like, it's not a bad idea to have a reserve driver, especially after everything that went down last year with teams and drivers moving all over the place in IndyCar. It's probably not a bad idea to have a reserve driver in this day and age. Speaking of drivers being moved up, we now know one driver that will join TBA as Dale Coyne at Dale Coyne Racing. It's going to be Jacob Abel. He's jumping up from the Indy Next Series, and he's going to run full time for Dale Coyne Racing beginning in 2025. So that's really good news for Jacob Abel. He's worked really, really hard to get where he is, even though his dad does own Abel Construction. Whatever. But it's still a good thing for him to be able to move up, and it shows it's a good thing for the Indy Next Series. That shows that the ladder system is still working and it's not broken, and that you can get to IndyCar using this stepping stone. Even if you don't have the championship, if you have at least the money and you have the results to back you up, I think that should be, because that's a big thing. I mean, you could throw as much money as you want, but if you can't say, oh well, I won a championship, or oh hey, I won some races, who's really going to hire you? Some people might, but not everybody. And Jacob Abel, I think, falls into the category of, yes, he has money, but he also has, at the very least, talent. So it's good to see him get to move up. Good to see another rookie get their shot at the IndyCar Series and the Indianapolis 500. And it's good to see Dale Coyne getting a full-time driver instead of just plugging and chugging whoever pays him the most money this week. But, that's how Dale Coyne's operated for a while. But anyway, next big-time news, and we're going to talk. This is going to be a recurring theme because we've got a lot of broadcast shakeups in the broadcasting world with IndyCar and even NASCAR. The broadcast lineups are being determined now, and so IndyCar and Fox, not only did they unveil their first commercial, like their first big advertisement during an NFL playoff game, but now they also announced their lineup in the booth. So the play-by-play will be done by Will Buxton, and it's interesting that Will Buxton was selected for play-by-play. And the reason why I say that is because Buxton, when he was hired by NBC back when they got the F1 rights in 2013, Will Buxton was hired on. He was basically their pit reporter. He was their on-site pit reporter, right? Like everything else was done remotely, but then Will Buxton was sent typically to the track. And when F1 would have its summer break, they'd be looking for ways for Will Buxton to fill that time, and so they assigned him on IndyCar. They put him on the pit road for IndyCar, and I thought he was actually really good. I thought he was a good addition to IndyCar. But now he's going to be calling IndyCar races from the play-by-play booth, and for anybody who might be a little bit nervous, like, oh man, who's this guy? Is he going to be like Lee Diffie, or who is this guy? He actually used to cover GP2. He used to be the lead play-by-play commentator for the GP2 series, which is now known as FIA Formula 2. And when he was the lead commentator for GP2, and I think he did a little some of his GP3 as well, maybe. I thought he was really good there. A lot of people, especially over in Europe primarily, which are mainly the people who watched it, but even the people over here who caught the tape-delayed GP2 and GP3 races over here on Speed or NBCSN, whatever it was, Will Buxton did a pretty good job. And obviously I think a lot of people are questioning because, he's never been to the Indy 500. He's never been, had Lee Diffie before he called the Indy 500? No, but, everybody loved Lee Diffie, and I think Will Buxton will do just fine. But he's going to be joined by two familiar faces. Fox has poached James Hinchcliffe and Townsend Bell away from NBC, which is fine because I imagine NBC wasn't going to have any use for them. So they are now back over here. They're going over to Fox. So it'll be kind of kind of the same, kind of similar. You'll have a similar flair here with Townsend and Hinchcliffe, but you'll still get Will Buxton. You'll get Will Buxton, and the pit reporters are going to be announced at a later date. So we don't know who the pit reporters are going to be yet. Be interesting to see who Fox tabs as pit reporters, but we'll have to stay tuned for that as that news likely gets announced closer and closer to March when IndyCar finally starts its season. Now, the final piece of IndyCar news here before we take a break. IndyCar is apparently talking with the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez and the city of Denver. So both the Mexico City racetrack where they hold the Mexico City Grand Prix and then the city of Denver about the possibility of holding a future race there. You want my opinion? Great. Both of these are markets that IndyCar has needed to be in for a long time. The Denver market, I think, is very underserved in the world of auto racing. And it's unfortunate because there was a time, and I think there still is, a very, very large number of car enthusiasts out in Colorado who would enjoy to watch an IndyCar race, who likely would prefer Pikes Peak not be closed off to professional racing, who would like a lot of other tracks to not be closed off to professional racing, or who might go out to Colorado National Raceway every Friday night or something, or Saturday night, or whenever they hold their races. But either way, I think a street race in downtown Denver is necessary. It worked well for Champ Car, and it always blew my mind that it was not something that IndyCar looked at when they reunified and said, why don't we keep looking at Denver? Why don't we keep going to Denver? They didn't, is what it is. But also Mexico City's another one where they never should have left. IndyCar IndyCar has to have at least one race in Mexico and one race in Canada. If you have 2 races there, great, more power to you. But you got to have at least 1 race in Canada, 1 race in Mexico. You got to really own that North American market. At least that's my opinion when it comes to IndyCar. Now, again, going back to my opinion, this is just my opinion. Would I prefer them to race on ovals? Would I prefer them to add 2 ovals to offset these 2 road courses? Yes, of course I would. But do I see that happening? No. I could get into that, but I won't. Again, I have a podcast for that if you want to listen to it. It's Rob and Roller, the Racing with Rob and Roller podcast. If you want to hear my real thoughts about that, you could listen to that. This is really just the news. But yeah, that's some big news for IndyCar. We could be getting 2 new races coming up here in the next couple of years, maybe next year, who knows, in addition to the already announced Arlington Grand Prix that's coming in 2026. All right, guys, we got to take a break here real quick. But when we come back, we're going to discuss NASCAR. We're going to take a look at the preview the upcoming weeks in racing and take a look at all those to get you started for the motorsports season. So don't go anywhere. You're watching the Racing Report. Welcome back to the Racing Report. My name is Rob Peeters, and now we're talking about some NASCAR news because we do have a lot of NASCAR news to discuss today. First of all, Zane Smith has been signed to Front Row Motorsports. So he's coming back to the team where he won a Truck Series title with. He's coming back to them from Spire Motorsports. It's kind of like a driver trade, I guess, kind of, sort of. Michael McDowell is going to Spire. He's going to drive the number 71. And now Zane Smith, who was driving the number 71, is going to come over to Front Row Motorsports and drive the 38. Todd Gilliland's in the 34. And then Noah Gragson is actually going to be in car number 4. And we'll get to that, how Noah Gragson got to car number 4 here in a little bit. But the big thing here is we got a 3-car FRM team. And again, that's going to make for a pretty big Daytona 500 lineup. And that's what we're going to get to here. So in the Daytona 500, we got a lot of open entries, obviously, like drivers like Jimmy Johnson, drivers elsewhere. It's expected that Martin Truex Jr. is going to race. Again, he hasn't still announced anything. Nothing has officially, formally been announced yet. We'll find out. And now that I say that, it kind of makes me want to check the interwebs to just make sure that something hasn't been announced yet on that front. And there it is. First and foremost, just as I pull it up, it's true. So this is some breaking news that we're getting right now. Junior Motorsports has officially entered Justin Allgaier into the Daytona 500 in partnership with Chris Stapleton. So this is I'm reading directly from the AP article here, and I'm trying to look for any information on what the number will be, and I don't see it. Well, I don't see it right now. Anyway, but yeah, that is the big news there. That's some breaking news that we just viewed right here live on the show, even though it's not live. It's pre-recorded. But anyway, all right, so some big news. Justin Allgaier is going to be running the Daytona 500. Obviously, more details will be coming up that in a later racing report, so don't miss these. Make sure to subscribe on WTHR on YouTube, and make sure to download the WTHR Plus app on your smart TV, and make sure to always click over to that sports tab to see when there's a new episode coming out. So we'll talk about that later because that's breaking news. But the other piece of Daytona 500 entry news, and we got a lot of it. We're going to get to it. So Mike Wallace. Yes, that Mike Wallace, not the guy from 60 Minutes, a third Wallace brother between Rusty and Kenny. He was supposed to be entered in the Daytona 500 with Motorsports Business Management, Carl Long's team, MBM, and apparently NASCAR has now said no. They have denied him. They said, no, you can't. We're not going to allow you to race this race because you haven't raced at a track over a mile and a half in several years. And Mike Wallace is obviously mad about this. MBM is trying to now find another funded driver in order to fill that ride, because Mike Wallace had the money and MBM doesn't have the money, so they need to find a driver who has the money, and I don't know if they're going to be able to find that now with about a month to go, maybe less than a month till the Daytona 500. That's going to be tough for them to get together. I hope that they're able to do it, but if you're a fan of Mike Wallace, I'm sure you're very upset, but otherwise it's kind of surprising there. But anyway, also in the big news, and this is what I'm so excited about. I'm so happy to finally be able to talk about this. This is something huge that I've been waiting for. We've all been waiting for it for a couple of years now. Helio Castroneves. Yes, that same Helio Castroneves, the 4-time Indianapolis 500 champion, is going to be running the Daytona 500 with Trackhouse and Project 91. He's going to run the 91 Chevrolet with sponsorship from Wendy's in the Daytona 500. Huge. Absolutely insane news. And this transcends anything. Castroneves has been in an IROC car, before, and but it's been a while. But he's also, again, 4-time Indianapolis 500 winner. I mean, and recently, like won in 2021. So, again, still up there. A lot of people might say, oh, he's washed on road and street courses. Maybe, but on an oval, Castroneves is still pretty good. And now he's got a really, really, really good car to attempt the Daytona 500 with. And it's not just that. He's going to run the ARCA race, too. He was also in the ARCA test that was a couple weeks ago. He's in that. He was in that. He's going to drive for Pinnacle Race Auto Group and Pinnacle Racing Group, excuse me. And Castroneves getting a lot of seat time in a stock car at Daytona this speed week. And I'm all for it here. So good luck to Helio. And one thing about that's very interesting, and I'm going to pull up the rules here, because NASCAR recently released new rules or updated their rule book. So I'm going to go ahead and explain some of the bigger ones here. The first one is what will basically lock Castroneves into the Daytona 500 regardless of what happens, is this new open exemption provisional. So I'm reading from J-Ski here, and in this open provisional it says similar to a promoter's option used in short and track and dirt track racing, the OEP, open exemption provisional, guarantees a starting position for world-class drivers who enter a NASCAR Cup race. So this is not a NASCAR regular. This is not somebody who's run NASCAR before. This is somebody who is coming in from an outside series. If the OEP is used, the driver/car owner will not be eligible to receive race points, playoff points, prize money, or any tiebreaker benefit of the finishing position. So basically, you're just in this race almost as like a Garage 56 entry, kind of, but not. I mean, you can still win the race, but you're not really eligible to get any points, to get any of the prize money. You're just out there for the sake of getting this driver, experience or fulfilling sponsor obligations, what have you. If the provisional car wins a race and or stage, that car will not be credited with the race win. That car will be credited with the race win, including the trophy and all-star eligibility. So they'll still, if they win the race, it counts as a win. It'll go in the rule book as a race win, but that finish will obviously not count toward playoff eligibility. Naturally so, I would assume. The second place finisher will inherit first place points, but will not receive playoff points or playoff eligibility. So it's entirely possible if you finish second to one of these, to say someone's finished second to Helio Castroneves in Daytona 500, they would get full points. They would get 43 points and however many playoff points they earned, but they wouldn't get the race win or the playoff eligibility as a result of that. Now, apparently the criteria for approval will be on a case-by-case basis, and full-time NASCAR drivers obviously are not eligible for this provisional. And a race team must request the provisional 90 days prior to an event. So Trackhouse, as soon as this rule came out, Trackhouse immediately requested this exemption for Helio Castroneves. So even if he doesn't qualify his race on Wednesday, doesn't race his way in through the duels, he'll still be in the race regardless. Just that 91 team won't be eligible for any prize money or for any season-ending points. Additionally, we've got an update on the damaged vehicle policy. This is only in the NASCAR Cup Series. Vehicles placed on the DVP may drive to the garage or be towed to the garage, and they will no longer be marked as out of the race. This is a huge development. This is something that I have been preaching for years that needs to change within NASCAR, and now finally it looks like it is. The 7-minute clock, or 8 minutes if it's at Atlanta, remains active for vehicles making repairs on pit road. When the clock expires, the vehicle must go to the garage to continue work. There is no clock for repairs made in the garage. If the car leaves its pit box and the clock expires prior to the car hitting the pit out yellow line, a penalty will be issued. Vehicles unable to drive to pit road, whether because of damage or flat tires, will be towed to the garage. Thank goodness. some sanity has been restored there. If a playoff waiver, this is for playoff waivers, if a playoff waiver is granted for missing a race, the driver will now forfeit all current and future playoff points earned prior to the playoffs and will start the playoffs with a maximum of 2,000 points. So the bare minimum. The bare minimum, if you are 16th in the playoffs, the bare minimum, and haven't won a race, you just barely get in on points, that's 2,000. That's a bare minimum. So let's say hypothetically something like Kyle Larson happened again this year. He would lose all of his playoff points prior to, say, Charlotte. And then as a result, he will forfeit all future playoff points. So even if Larson wins a bunch of stages, they'll all go for naught. He'll have to win a race, get locked into the playoffs, and even then, he'll still be seeded dead last. Now, that's a hypothetical. Obviously, this hasn't happened yet, but that's how it would work. That's how Larson's situation would have worked had these rules been in place last year. Also, we've got new rules. Verbiage about the 100% rule is now replaced with a focus on, quote-unquote, manipulating the outcome of an event. Now, this follows up some OEM penalties. So rules violations by an OEM or a manufacturer may result in loss of manufacturer points and or loss of wind tunnel hours and or loss of RCFD runs, which would substantially affect the performance of any manufacturer that was caught and penalized like this. So very, very big news coming out in the world of NASCAR to be aware of. So keep in mind on that. Next news, Kurt Busch has been cleared to return to racing. He will run in the Race of Champions in March. Good news there. No news on a NASCAR run for him. But hey, maybe in the future we could have Kurt Busch return to the NASCAR series, a NASCAR series. Now, as we talked about, the IndyCar on Fox booth has been announced. So has the NASCAR on CW booth. So the CW is taking over the NASCAR Xfinity series starting this upcoming season. And Adam Alexander will lead the play-by-play commentary alongside Jamie McMurray and Parker Kligerman. Perfect booth. Mwah. Chef's kiss. No notes. And then Dylan Welch and Kim Kuhn will be on pit road. They'll also have a pre-race show as well. So obviously CW going all into their new NASCAR obligations. Finally here, Ryan Truex was tabbed as Joe Gibbs' reserve driver for this upcoming year. So he doesn't have a ride yet, or even a part-time ride, or even a couple of rides. But if there's a Joe Gibbs driver who gets sick, gets hurt, suspended, whatever, Ryan Truex, he's going to plop himself in there. So at the very least, he's got a chance to drive something this year. It's just how prepared will he be when he finally gets into the car? We'll find out. And then finally, Cody Ware is going to run the 51 car for Ric Ware Racing full-time in 2025. So that's big news considering he's been out for a while with the assault charges that he was going through. Those got dropped, I think. I'm not sure. I think they were dropped. But either way, he's back in NASCAR. So we're going to take another quick break, very, very, very quick break. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the Rolex 24 that's coming up and the Chili Bowl, as well as take a look at the Formula E races that have happened since we last talked. So don't go anywhere. You're watching The Racing Report. Hey, welcome back to The Racing Report. My name's Rob Peeters, and let's finish this thing off. Big races coming up. So we got the Chili Bowl coming up this weekend. We've already had a number of practices and early races or preliminary stuff going on. We've had a couple of preliminary events going on down there at the Tulsa Expo Center. But if you don't have flow racing, highly recommend it. It's going to be a good one. So that's coming up this week. So make sure that you tune in if you have the ability to. It's going to be a good one. Lots of stars from all over the place. Kyle Busch is going to be there. Kyle Larson's there. Christopher Bell's there. And Catherine Legg is also there. That's pretty cool. So not only will Catherine Legg be in the ARCA race at Daytona, she's also running the Chili Bowl. She's doing everything now. Catherine Legg is doing everything, and I am all for it. And then as we look ahead to the Rolex 24 that's coming up, we know a couple more details coming up with that. We're probably going to learn NBC's broadcast schedule at this point. How many races are going to be on? How many hours I should say are going to be on NBC? How many hours are going to be on Peacock? Obviously, the whole thing's going to be on Peacock, but how many exclusive hours are going to be on Peacock, and how many hours are going to be on USA Network? I imagine that we'll find all of that out here in the coming weeks. And then as we look ahead into the Formula E, or look back to the Formula E, 2 Formula E races have already been run. So we had the Sao Paulo E-Prix to kick off the Formula E season, and now we've just had the Mexico City E-Prix. So in the Mexico City E-Prix, Oliver Rowland snatched the victory after a late safety car to win in the Mexico City E-Prix, and this follows the Sao Paulo E-Prix, where Mitch Evans came from dead last to win the race. So already we've got a lot of crazy shakeups going on in Formula E. The racing has been fantastic. I highly recommend it if you don't have a chance. Actually, you can watch it if you have a Roku or just access to any smart TV, or even just go on the Roku channel. It is free. You can watch all the Formula E races for free on the Roku channel. Now, again, you can get that either on. I have it on my Fire TV, which is crazy. Roku on a Fire TV, right? That's crazy. But there is an app there that you can download it. So I think most smart TVs should have a Roku channel app, but if not, it's also available online and on your phone as well. So, but anyway, that is it for this episode of the Racing Report. You know, I really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching this show. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to some of the races that are coming up. So, don't go anywhere. Make sure to subscribe. And make sure to follow me on social media, because then that's how you'll find out when a new episode drops. Also, next week, we'll be talking about the Chili Bowl. We'll be, again, previewing the Rolex 24, and we'll talk about all of the recent news in the world of motorsports. So, hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate your support, and this has been another great episode of The Racing Report.